around 7:55 on a Saturday evening, I ran out to the kitchen, grabbed a snack and a soda, and ran back to my room. Teen Titans was coming on. I never miss an episode. I parked myself on the bed and hoped that it was one of my favorites tonight. I was 15 years old at the time, so my mind was still developing rational thoughts. As the clock turned to 7:59, the female announcer said, "Teen Titans is coming on now." The screen then faded to black for about 6 seconds, and the opening played. However, something didn't seem quite right. The colors were inverted. Raven disappeared from the opening altogether, and then the screen played a constant loop of Cyborg punching the screen 4 times, before the screen shattered into the episode's name. The episode was supposedly feared itself. However, it only showed Slade staring down at the viewers. His good eye was colored in red. Loud static noises and red pixels filled the screen. The toy monkey that should have appeared later in the episode yelled, "Help me," a few times, before the colors of Slade drained out and transformed back to the opening. This is what's wrong. This isn't the episode, this wasn't the real opening. However, being a massive Teen Titans fan that I am, I still decided to watch. This time the opening was still shots of Titan's Tower. The water around looked blood red. They showed Raven, Starfire, Beast Boy, and Cyborg staring out at the tower. Slade's laughter was played on the constant loop, and then he said, "Looks like you'll be needing a new leader, huh, Titans?" Beast Boy's "No!" played forward and backward, and then Raven started crying. However, loud static and Slade's laughter made it hard to hear. Before the commercial break, Cyborg said in a really distorted tone, "Robin can't die, need him." Slade's laughter became even louder with a dark tone to it, before an explosion of Raven's powers turned the screen to pitch dark, and the commercial break started. I stared in disbelief. What the hell did I just watch? I decided to go on Cartoon Network forums and saw over 30 topics of this episode of Teen Titans Screw Up. What was that? Okay. I knew I wasn't the only one who witnessed this. Everyone who was watching the TV saw exactly the same thing I did. I closed the Internet Explorer and sat back down on my bed. The show came back from the commercials. This time a new episode was being displayed with jumbo lettering, "Robin's death." The screen flashed red and then black and then turned to static, all within 10 seconds. I couldn't tell what was happening, but it looked like they were in cities searching for the dog they thought it was Beast Boy from the episode Every Dog Has His Day. Robin was gone from every scene. Even the dialogue between the characters had a depressing tone to it. When everyone stopped, the characters were suddenly frozen on screen with sad looks upon their faces. It zoomed on all 3 of their faces, and then the screen faded to white, almost like a flashback. It showed scenes of Robin laying on the ground defeated. Once again, Slade's laughter was looped in the background, colors only showing red. In a very incomprehensible voice, I heard Slade say, "It's not nice to hit your father, Robin," followed by a loud yell from Robin. The screen blacked out, and the Slade laughed in a really demonic voice. The black screen and laughter went on for the last 4 minutes of airtime before the credits rolled. Slowly, the music was going in reverse. However, the last thing I saw was "Warning, do not air," in red text after the last credit. Words cannot describe how I felt. I looked in the mirror, but all I could think of was Slade's laughter, and Robin's motionless body just laying there. I went back to the Cartoon Network forums and attempted to see if there were any producers have anything to say, but they didn't. In fact, they closed the forums until further notice.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.